Hey everybody, it is Romania Black, and so we're on chapters 82 through 86 of WangXian. Last week I recorded a lot. Last week was nearly 2.5 hours. It was a very long, very long reaction to the audio drama, and I was doing 2 episodes and several extras as well. The extras for this week, we're just doing season 3, episode 9 of the audio drama. We're just doing that one, covering chapters 82 through 86 and keeping rabbits the extra. And for some reason, it just worked out that way. I, many moons ago, mapped this entire thing out with the rest of the Untamed and the novel. And there was, I swear, a rhyme and a reason that I did this. But for some reason, this week and next week, I'm just looking at one episode of the audio drama. I'm not sure why, it just worked out that way. So this will probably be a lot shorter than last week's. So we're gonna balance it out. Last week's was nearly 2.5 hours. It was a lot. This week will probably be shorter, but who knows? Maybe it won't be. I don't know, because I don't know what all, I think maybe I just put this as one episode of the audio drama this week because we're covering 4 chapters, and maybe I thought when I actually go back and read the chapters it will be a longer experience. I'm guessing there maybe is some action in this episode, and that's why the audio drama may be shorter, because when it has action they kind of cut corners and they're like, we'll just do battle sounds and things like that, because we can't really inaudibly describe it when you can't see what's going on. And then when you go back and read the novel, it's expanded upon, so maybe that's the reason. I don't know, but I'm going to be looking at that episode and then the extra keeping rabbits, which I'm assuming is talking about WangXian keeping rabbits, because that's a big thing. But I've got the audio drama episode pulled up here. It's of WangXian holding WuXian in his arms, and if you notice, WuXian has grabbed the forehead ribbon and taken it off of WangXian, and out to the side you can see the disciples, and they're all like, no, WuXian, and they all look like, they're like, don't take the forehead ribbon off, and it's like, oh honey, you have no clue. So it's a very interesting image. But yeah, so that's what we're gonna watch today. We're gonna watch season 3, episode 9 of the audio drama, covering chapters 82 through 86, and then the Keeping Rabbits extra. So I'm gonna listen to those audio drama pieces, and then I'm gonna stop this reaction, go read the chapters, read the manhwa, and then come back and we'll talk about it as a whole. I'm pretty excited, so we shall see, right? But this morning I woke up and I was like, nah, we're gonna watch this. I'm ready. So let's dive in, shall we? So let's get this thing started. All right. And we're gonna start this portion of WangXian, the audio drama, here in 3, 2, 1, and Oh. And we're going to pick right back up. I think it was page 701. Let it go. And it's the Fang guy. Like those past deeds. What about my parents? And Ling knows. Yeah. Oh. A homeless dog. And they died again. Oh. What else do you want? I don't think he wants your forgiveness. Yeah, no. Oh. Oh. And WangXian's like, hey, by the way, he truly is. Yeah. Can we leave too? Uh-huh. It's funny, she sounds kind of like Cheng. Oh. It's too slow. Hmm. Okay. All right. Oh. If we can come along. Yeah. Oh. I don't think he cares. Yeah, no, he's like, I don't care. You don't have to be associated with me. Uh huh. Probably gonna need WuXian's help. Oh. Under his control. Aww. Aww. Kieran Singh can come along. Hmm. The cheek to return to Lotus Pier. Oh. Okay. All right, here we go. They don't have to forgive him. All right. Okay. All right. Going to Lotus Pier. He wanted to take Wanji there all this time. These guys just complaining about being in a boat. They'll just complain about anything. Oh. Sizhui, he's seasick. Oh. 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 Oh, it's Ning. It's Ning. Mm-hmm. He looks like a sea turtle. Aw, don't make fun of Ning. Aw. Aw, he just saved you. No. Yeah, exactly, Jingyi. Aw. Aw, Sizhui. Oh. What's your name? Yes! Yes! Oh my god. Oh. Oh my gosh. He's figuring out the name, what it means. You look like a distant relative of mine. Oh my god! Oh my god. Because they are old friends. They are family. Sometime further back. Yeah. Oh. Oh, Ling, don't. Oh. Oh. No, that's not it at all. Yeah. Oh. Oh, Ling, honey, no. Oh, Ling. Oh, no. Wuxian's like, I gotta go take care of my nephew. And Wanji, oh my god. Oh, please let this all come to light. Oh. Oh, but he couldn't resist. I couldn't resist, yeah. Oh. 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 Oh, Ling. And of course Cheng comes. Did someone bully you? No, he doesn't have any evil intentions, damn it! Oh my god. They won't give him a break. Mm-hmm. Like flipping that sleeve. Oh. Oh, Zizan. Oh. Oh gosh, poor Zizan. Oh, Zizan. Ha! Stand up for yourself, Zizan. Oh. Oh. Bridal carries him into the cabin. Yes, please. Yes, please. Oh. Oh. Yeah. He's tired. He can never get tired. But he's in a different body. We're all human. Oh. Oh my God. I'm here. My heart, my heart, my heart, my heart, my heart. They're like, we're gonna leave y'all to this. Yeah, let's get out of here. Oh my God. Don't mind them. Ah, we're not needed in there. No. It felt inappropriate to be there. Oh my God. Surely they're not going to do anything in the cabin. Gah! Ning knew what was up. Ah! Let's just sit outside. Ah! Oh, Sizhui sits next to him. Sits like a good Goosey Land boy. Oh my God. Oh, sure. Just connecting back with them. Yes. Or my father. Or his father. Treated him like his father. Oof. Oof. Do the math. Do the math. Oof. Oh. In seclusion. Oh. Yeah, you did. Oh. Oh. Oh, he has that habit. Oh. Shut up. Then he wanted to lie in his arms more. Oh my God, how dare you. And so they arrive at Yangming. Okay. Oh, he calls him Mr. Win. Oh, it's Sizhui and Ning. Oh, and Ning's telling him everything. Placed him in a pile of rabbits. Oh. Oh my gosh. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my gosh, this is amazing. Okay. Huh. But is it not the same? It's completely different. They've probably been torn down already. I'll bring you to have a look around, yeah. What are we doing? What? Cheng, what? What are we doing? What's happening? Oh, this is where we're gonna find out about Yao and Chinsu. Oh. Okay. Ooh. Okay. 11 years ago. Yes. Sissy. Oh, wow. What judgment. Some of the other prostitutes. Oh, oof. Oof. Huh. Wow, the judgment, right? Of 20 of us brought to a place. Oh. Oh, is this Daddy Jin going down? Oh, please let it be it. Oh, let it be it. Mingxi, something's fishy. Ooh. Why would they look for the older ones? Some kind of kink. Well, I mean, that's not an unheard of thing. Oh my god, yes! Oh no. No, no, no. It doesn't look decent. That sickly man, he can't even move. Oh! And Sissy. Oh my god! Oh my god! This music, the piano music too. my god! Oh my gosh. Holy cow. Glad you're all doing the math. Holy crap. Look at you. Look at you. Yeah, he'd do that to his dad too. Oh. Yeah. Yeah, why'd they spare her? Okay. Huh. Who rescued her? Interesting. Huh. They're really eager to say she's not lying. She doesn't sound like she's lying. Oh. Oh. Okay, so that was her side of the story. Bisao. Oh, Chirin's seen her? Oh, that's where Chirin knows her. To Madame Chen. Yeah, okay. Oh, does she? I can't believe we're getting to this now. 12 or 13 years ago. Oh no. Ooh. Mm-mm. Holy cow. Ooh. Okay. Oh. Oh. Oh my God. And there we go! And there we go! Oh. Oh my gosh. Oh my God. To tell him. And he did it anyway. He still married her. Yeah, they had a kid. Yep. Uh-huh. He had to die. Mm-hmm, that sigh. Oh, make a bold assumption, why don't you? We don't know, though. Yes. Mm. Oof. Damn. That's so awful. Oh my God. It's just, it's all coming crashing down. Mm. Had an altercation, yeah. That was me. Yeah, why now? After all these years. But why now? But why now? Mm-hmm. Ooh. That look fair on the outside but foul on the inside. Wow, yeah, no joke. Yep, exactly. She chose to kill herself. Ah. Oh. Yeah, who sent them there? Hmm. Has free time. Yeah. Uh-huh. Hmm. Hmm. Oh my God. Hmm. 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 Interesting. Oh, Jingshin. And we're tying Yang back into this. Uh-huh. Hmm. Uh-huh. Interesting. Oh, now everybody's telling secrets. It's just all the gossip. Oh my gosh. It's just gotten out of hand. Oh my God. Hmm. Just get the mob mentality going. Hmm. Oh my gosh. And we're just gonna attack Golden Koi Tower now. Wow. Ha! You're addressing me? Oh, we'll entrust this matter to you. What? Oh my God. Right? Oh my God. WuXian is probably like, really? Oh my God. Uh, oh my gosh. WuXian's like, y'all were just bitching at me 5 minutes ago and now you want me to go save everybody? Oh my gosh. Leaving the tiger amulet to him. Okay. Yeah, the chapters for this are going to be interesting. Yeah, they just all of a sudden got the mob mentality and they're like, well, we just berated WuXian at the beginning of this, saying that we can never forgive him, and like how instantly they change. They change course. So like, well, now we got to go to Story Yao. And there's so much with that, like why Sissy was left as the last one. Like why is Mengji just now telling all of them this? Like, and Hui Sang seems like he's skirting around the edge of being like trying to push the truth out there, but not actively trying to say it because he doesn't want to draw attention to himself. I just wow. I do want to hear the preview for episode 10 though. I do want to hear that preview, but oh my gosh, like just this is amazing. And then we'll listen to Keeping Rabbits. I'm excited. I've heard some people in the comments say that this sounds too much like a shonen ending, ED or OP. It's very modern, but it's fine. I like this ED. I like it because it's upbeat and it's like ramping up to the climax of the series, which is exciting. So I'm fine with that. It's okay. Oh, I can't wait to hear this. Oh, we're getting that next episode! What? We're getting that next episode? Are you joking? Oh my gosh. We're getting the golden core next episode. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Okay. All right. Oh my god, I'm so excited. I'm so excited. Okay, I do want to get this keeping rabbits put up here. Okay. And go from there. So we'll listen to Keeping Rabbits and then we'll talk about this. All right. In 3, 2, 1. All right, let's do this extra. All right. I love the little image of the rabbits. There's always like a black rabbit for WuXian. Uh-huh. A tiny but pleasant encounter. Oh my god. Oh. To keep rabbits. Oh, Shishin. Uh-huh. Who could have thought? They have very different personalities. Oh. The naughty one. Kind of like WuXian. Why is there not subtitles? Okay. Oh. Oh. Oh, the white rabbit has a fierce temper, like Wanji. It's quiet. And it ran the other new rabbit's way because it likes the other rabbit. Oh my god. Oh my god. He's guarding what is his. Who said it has nothing to do with the territory? Took the 2 rabbits away. Aren't they gonna stay and make new friends? Oh, come on. Oh my gosh, y'all. Y'all. Yeah, because Wanji didn't want to admit that the rabbits are like him and WuXian. Okay. All right. Well, I'm gonna go read the chapters. That was adorable, and we'll talk about it. But I'm gonna go read the chapters of Manhua and then come back and we will talk about this amazingness. Let's go. Oh. These chapters, wow, we covered a lot of ground. We covered a lot of ground in these chapters. Oh my gosh. So yeah. The chapters are great. The Manhua, I'm almost caught up with the Manhua, which is kind of insane. The Manhua covered chapters 215 to 220, and right now the Manhua is only up to 224. So I'm like, so in the next video, in the next section, I may get to the Manhua that I can, and then I may have to wait a while. I may have to wait a couple videos to go any further. I don't know. I'm at the point where the Manhua's almost caught up, and I'm like, well, I guess I'm just gonna have to wait. But hopefully for next week, the Manhua will be caught up enough, right? That's what I'm hoping, so we can do that, because I do want to include those images. But yeah, and then I guess for the thumbnail, I'll just have to start using pictures if I don't have access to the Manhua at that point. I may just have to go back and finish the Manhua later, which is sad because the Manhua, the drawing has been so good for the Manhua so far, but I'm nearly caught up. So I'm sure I'll be able to talk about the Manhua in the next video, but after that, it may be a while before I can talk about the Manhua again, which is fine. But yeah, so these chapters, oh my gosh. Like I said going into this, I think in the last video, the Donghua reorganizes and rushes this part of the story. And so I know the pieces. I know several pieces. Like a lot of the pieces of the plot were talked about. In the Donghua, this whole section here happens in the burial mounds. There is no going back to Lotus Pier in the Donghua. We don't do that until the very end. We get the golden core reveal, which looks like it's happening in the next set of chapters. So holy shit, right? Oh my God. That's happening next week. Great. But in the Donghua, you don't find out the golden core reveal till the very, very end, the last episode. And in the Donghua, all of this conversation in these chapters takes place while they're still at the burial mounds. WangXian gets taken to where Yao and them is. There isn't, and that's why they go to Golden Koi. They decide to go, but WangXian had already been kidnapped, which is curious. We're going to talk about that with the story of Sissy and Mingji. We're going to talk about that. Because I've not rewatched the Donghua intentionally because I wanted to be surprised by the Untamed and the novel. So I haven't rewatched season 3 of the Donghua. So there is a couple things that are foggier, and I wanted it to be that way because I wanted to see in the novel how things actually went down. So if I go back and rewatch the Donghua, I'll be like, oh, this is how it actually was supposed to be. Okay. But oh my gosh, the themes in these chapters are so good. Starting out with the whole thing with the Fang Man and just carrying on from page 701 in the version of the ebook that I have for the novel, the English translation, starting out in chapter 82, finishing up 82, where the Fang guy in the burial mounds, he's like, why should we forgive you? You did one good deed. Why should we forgive you? And I love that WuXian's like, I'm not asking you to forgive me. He's like, do you think I don't know what I did in the past? Because I do. It haunts me. I still have nightmares about it. He didn't say that to them, but we know WuXian still has nightmares about it. He's like, I know I've done horrible things in the past. I've already died. My family that I tried to protect, they're dead. The Winds are all dead. The Winds came back from the dead to save you all a second time and then turned to ash. She's like, what do you want me to do? Die again? He's like, what do you want from me? And I like that the Fang guy, he doesn't have a response. He just gets mad and storms out because he doesn't have anything else to say. And WuXian's like, I'm not asking anybody to forgive me. But like he tells Cheer, and he's like, we're on the same side. So I might as well help you all to try to get the Tiger Amulet and to try to help. He's like, we're on the same side. I'm not asking you to forgive me. I'm not asking you to follow me. I'm just tagging along. Like WuXian's like, I'm just tagging along, and Wanji's with me. And he asks Chirin to let Wanji help out. And Chirin's like, fine. But you can tell Chirin's like, I'm only doing this for my nephew's sake, right? It's interesting to see Chirin and Cheng in these chapters, that Chirin has a similar attachment to Wanji and wanting to help make sure he does the morally right thing. But he's very protective of Wanji, right? We've established Chirin is very protective of Wanji. And it's kind of similar to how Cheng is very protective of Ling. Like, they both really love their nephews, and both of their siblings that are the mother and father of their nephews is dead. And they feel, that they have a hand in that. So you can tell that they both are trying to be extremely protective of their nephews because of how they feel with the entire situation. It's an interesting comparison. I'd never really compared Chirin and Cheng until this chapter, and I was like, oh yeah, that's kind of the way they react is kind of similar. And poor Ling, they don't really say this in the novel, but they set it up in the audio drama that Ling is really upset when the Fang guy's like, WuXian, you killed my parents, like how am I supposed to forgive you? And that ties Ling back. Ling wants to form a relationship with WuXian. Back when he thought he was Mo Zhan Yu, he wants to form this relationship with his uncle, but now that he knows who he really is, he's like, what do I do with that? Because you're responsible for my parents being dead. So Ling is so conflicted in these chapters. I feel so badly for him. Like our poor baby Ling, he doesn't know what to do. He's so conflicted and torn up about all of this. And it's like, and you can't blame him for being tore up about it, but it's like, oh, Ling, honey, you just feel bad for him, right? You just feel bad for him. It's sad. So yeah, it's just a sad situation all around. But yeah, and so they decide, WuXian is like, I'm just wanting to help. And in the novel, the cultivators, they kind of feel guilty. The cultivators are like, well, do we accept WuXian's help? Because, it's going to look really bad if we've been dogging him this whole time and then we need his help. It's like, yeah, a bit. But at what point can they do? And then Cheng is just as conflicted as WuXian is. Cheng, they talk about how they decide to go to the Lotus Pier. And Cheng is like, well, he's like, oh, you dare to come back to the Lotus Pier? And you can tell in that moment, Cheng's not saying yes or no. He's not saying he disapproves of WuXian coming back, but he doesn't say he approves of it. He's like, how dare you decide to come back after everything that's happened? But there's a part of Cheng that is happy WuXian's coming back home. Cheng is just as conflicted as Ling. He's like, I want to welcome my brother back and feel happy that he's back in my life. I've waited for him to come back all these years, but he's done all this bad stuff in the past. He's like, how am I? And it's caused pain for his nephew Ling. He's so conflicted about it. And it's really sad. So, but then they're going to Lotus Pier. It's what WuXian would want you to do all this time. And it seemed like at the end, the audio drama cuts off right before the end of chapter 86. And I kind of stopped reading on page 725. I kind of stopped reading where the audio drama cut off, but I noticed in the Manhua and in the chapter, there was a couple more pages that looked like WuXian didn't meet up at the banquet hall like Cheng wanted. Him and Wanji just kind of went off on a walkabout on Lotus Pier. And it makes sense. That's what he wanted to do with him all along. Like way back in Gusu in those chapters, he wanted to bring Wanji to the Lotus Pier and show him around and get him lotus pod seeds and all of this. And I'm assuming, since we're going to talk about the Golden Core next episode, they're about to go attack Koi Tower. So I'm assuming Cheng, at the very end of the chapter, I think Cheng mentioned something. I just looked ahead to see where the chapter ended, and it's like 2 more pages. But I think he said something along the lines of, oh, we'll go get them before we go to Koi Tower. So I'm like, okay, is it like in the Donghua, Cheng goes and finds them as WuXian's showing them around, and then they end up at the parents' memoriam at the shrine. And so I wonder if Cheng going to find them before they go to Koi Tower is when all that's going to come out. Ugh, that's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting, y'all. Oh my God. But yeah, so we get they're going to Lotus Pier, and they have to go by boat. That's the best way they can all go as a group. And so they shove all the disciples into one boat, so it's very crowded. And poor Sizhui is seasick. I relate. I get so seasick on a boat. I have to do like the patch where you don't get seasick. I can't be on a boat for long or I'll get seasick. It's just a natural thing that occurs. But it's, again, they're throwing all these hints at us that he's Yan because they're like, wow, you're from Gusu, but you get seasick. That's not normal for land clan people. They're so used to being on boats. And he's like, I don't know, maybe I'm born this way. And it's like, because you're from the Wind Clan. And you're from a totally different location. That's why. And so then Ning, him getting on the boat, and they kind of make fun of him at first. They call him a turtle, and it's like, oh, and then he hops up. And the Manhua, for the record, the Manhua illustrating Ning for these chapters is freaking adorable. It's the cutest thing. I'm like, our cinnamon roll zombie. Oh my gosh. But he just pops up, and the disciples make fun of him. And then he tries to smile, but he can't smile. He can't smile. That's so sad, right? And Sizhui is trying to remember where he's seen Ning from. And Ning's like, oh, you look like a former relative of mine. And it's like, And he tries to learn his name. And we confirm that Wanji gave him the courtesy name of Sizhui. And it seems like Ning is trying to to figure out what Sizhui means. He's like, he keeps saying the name over and over again. Like, what does that mean? Why did he give him that name? And there's a meaning to the name. And we're going to find that out. But it's like, like Ning is piecing it together. He's piecing it all together. It's great. But yeah, it's so great because he wants to call him Yan. He's like, can I call you Aeon? And everybody's like, why is Ning being so familiar with Sizhui? And Sizhui, because he's a little precious angel, is like, oh yeah, sure, that's great. I'll be friends with you, Ghost General. You seem kind of familiar. What's up? And it's like, But then, yeah. And then baby Ling just can't take it anymore. He's like, this being that has killed my father is standing in front of me and everybody's being friendly with him. Do y'all not see that he's a threat? Like, he killed my dad and now it's the same thing with WuXian. He's like, you killed my father and now you want to come around and be friends with my friends, and everybody's just treating it like it's perfectly fine. He's like, I've suffered my whole life being alone and have been made fun of and treated awful because I don't have parents, and the person responsible for that is standing right here and none of y'all are saying anything about it. And so Ling gets mad, and I don't blame him for getting mad, because it's like this is all bubbled up to the surface. And then it just hit me in this chapter, like going back and rereading the chapter, it hit me that when Ling says, when he goes up to Ning and Ning goes, oh, Jin Rulon, and Ling goes, who's that? I have not realized that this entire series, they've always called Ling by his first name, by his birth name. They've not called him by his courtesy name. Hardly at all. Even Cheng doesn't call him by his courtesy name, which it makes sense. But it just hit me reading the novel that they don't call him Rulon because that's the name that WuXian picked out. That's the name that WuXian picked out as his courtesy name. And because WuXian's tied to the deaths of both of his parents, Ling doesn't want to be called that. Because it's just like adding insult to injury. Like, oh, the murderer of my parents, the indirect murderer of my parents gave me this name. I don't want it tied to me. So when Ning calls him that, it's just like an insult. He's like, who's that? I don't go by that name. I don't recognize it. Like, that just hit me and I was like, oh crap. Oh my God. Yeah. And so, because everybody calls him Ling. Everyone, even strangers, like they don't call him Rulon. It's like, And so then Ning corrects himself and he's like, oh, Jin Ling. It's, oh my God. And then of course Sizhui's like, Wanji, WuXian, come help. And they're just like over in the other bit like, okay. And WuXian gets so much shit at the start of these chapters. Like, WuXian's like, I've done nothing. They asked me to come over and see what was up. I did that. I've done nothing. I just told Ling to put down his sword. And that just triggers Ling. Because Ling realizes that WuXian's right. He realizes he shouldn't attack him or Ning. There's no point. But him just like clutching his father's sword saying, this is all I have. I'm not putting it down. It's like, it's so tragic. It's like, oh God. And of course, as soon as Ling starts crying, it's like, it's the bat signal to Cheng being like, my nephew's in trouble. And Cheng going over there being like, who bullied you? Who did this? And Ling's just like, and of course, I love in the novel that Cheng immediately turns to look at WuXian like, did you do this? Did you make our nephew cry? Wei Ying? And in the manhua and the novel, he says Wei Ying. He doesn't say WuXian. In his head, he's thinking Wei Ying. So it's like, it's another further indicator that Cheng puts on a front, like his bark is worse than his bite, because he's always like, Wei WuXian, every time he sees him in public, but in his internal monologue, he's saying Wei Ying, and it's like, Cheng, I see how it is. And I love in the novel that WuXian's like, wait, what? And Wanji steps in to block him. And the novel tries to make it seem like Wanji stepped in to block the view of WuXian, whether it was intentional or not, we're not sure, but it looks very intentional, like Wanji's blocking the view from Cheng to WuXian. Like, Wanji is trying to protect WuXian from any pain that Cheng could cause him. Which is hilarious, because we're going to find in the next episode, in the next set of chapters, that Cheng has caused a lot of grief for WuXian, because WuXian sacrificed his golden core to save his brother. So that's all going to come back in full swing. I'm excited for that. More pain, right? But yeah, so Cheng picks up Ling and takes him over to the other boat to get him away so that he can cry. And in the novel, they make a point that Ling is highly embarrassed that he's crying, because some of the other people his same age, he makes a note that a lot of people his own age, they're married, they have kids. Like, him crying in public is a big deal. Like, he's clearly racked with some heavy emotions to cry in public like this. And it's really, really sad. And so WuXian's about to do something, and he takes a step, and he's like, oh God, I'm exhausted. And him just collapsing into Wanji's arms. Wanji bridle carrying him into the cabin of the boat. And all the disciples follow. Ning does not. All the disciples follow in. And it's like, and WangXian, of course, doesn't care about the other disciples being there. He's like prime lasered in on helping WuXian. So him like having WuXian in his arms in the boat, it's ridiculously romantic. And the audio drama and the manhwa, like the novel establishes that WuXian like curls up to WangXian and like sleeps in his arms. But the audio drama and the manhwa, they really go that extra mile to make you really feel that this is a very intimate moment where WuXian is all like nuzzled up against WangXian to the point where the disciples are like, should we be here? like these guys, they literally got a room. We should leave. And when they go outside, the manhwa makes it the most adorable thing ever. The manhwa shows Ning just huddled up to the edge of the boat, and they're like, maybe Ning knew what was up. And it's like, Ning has learned when WangXian takes off with WuXian, just let him go. Just let him go. Don't worry. WangXian's got this. He's going to watch over him. It's going to be fine. And the disciples are like, maybe Ning's onto something. But yeah, that whole thing where WuXian collapses in WangXian's arms and WangXian's like, I'm here. It's like, And the disciples are all thinking, why did WuXian collapse? He's the Ling patriarch. He's this amazing figure. And I love the words that WangXian says. He's like, we're all human. No, WuXian may have been called the Ling patriarch, but he's not some supernatural being. He's not some like deity or anything. He's just a human. He's eventually going to get tired. And he's in Mo Jianyu's body now, so he has limited spiritual energy anyway. But WangXian's whole thing being like, we're just all human. It's fine, right? And then I love the juniors debating. I love that in the novel the juniors debate. They're like, I didn't know, why would WuXian be around WangXian? He's so boring. It's like it's all coming out, but we find out later they're not so different, right? That they're actually more similar than we think. And so yeah, the juniors all leave him alone. And then we get a little bit more time with Ning and Sizhui kind of going over the past. And Ning's just asking him how he is. He's like, how have you been all these years? Who's took care of you? And in the audio drama, Sizhui says that WangXian took him in when he was 4 or 5. But he's like, I couldn't have been with WangXian before then because WangXian was in seclusion. And in the audio drama, it's harder to decipher. But in the novel, they establish that timeline matches up, that Ning notices. He's like, oh, well, if you were 4 and 5 when WangXian took you, that would have been right around the time that there was a siege on the burial mounds. So the timelines are starting to all add up. But I like that Ning doesn't make any assumptions. And he doesn't tell Sizhui, even though I'm pretty sure at this point Ning's put 2 and 2 together. He doesn't tell Sizhui, he's like, oh, you're my long lost relative and WangXian saved you from and you're a win, not a lan. He doesn't say that to him. Instead, very sweetly, he just starts telling Sizhui stories about the past as if it's going to jog his memory, as if it's going to make him remember from back then. He's like, oh, let me tell you some stories about this little kid who was 2 or 3 at the burial mounds. Let me tell you about him. It's so adorable, right? And so then WuXian wakes up and he's grabbed WangXian's forehead ribbon and tugged it off, and WangXian was just chill with it. And I like that we established canonically that WuXian, he grabs at things in his sleep. He always wants to hug something to his side. And that's so sweet because it's establishing that WuXian, he wants that contact. He's so social and outgoing and extroverted that he always wants somebody at his side. And so him grabbing and hugging at things while he's sleeping, it's really sweet. And it makes his past all the more sad because you're thinking about it and you're like, man, when he was all by himself during that time as the Yiling Patriarch, he didn't have anybody to like hug or grab at or anything to grab a hold of while he was sleeping. So he was all alone. It's like, no wonder he kept ghosts as company. It's really, really tragic. But of course, our oblivious gremlin, he's like, man, if I had known that WangXian was going to let me do it, I would have stayed in his arms sleeping for a little while longer. And it's like, quit teasing us. At this point, quit teasing us. So then, yeah, they arrive at the Lotus Pier. And as they're getting out the boat, the disciples all disperse because the big kids are going to have their talk in the dueling hall. And Sizhui decides to go off with Ning. He's like, oh, I want to hear some more stories, Ning. And he's like, you've told me this story about about WuXian planning this 2-year-old like a radish. And WuXian like trips and falls into WangXian like, what stories are you telling? And I don't think he knows that it's Yan at this point. I don't think he knows. And then you get the idea that I want to see this. I hope that this is an extra in later chapters. But when Sizhui says, oh, well, WangXian planted me in a bed of rabbits, so maybe they're not so different. I just imagine WangXian taking little baby Yan and putting him in just a bed of rabbit fluff surrounding him. I need that in my life. So I hope that is a future extra because that sounds like the most adorable thing possible. But yeah, they go off, and then we go to the dueling hall, and we get the backstory of Daddy Jin's death, about Yao and Chinsu being siblings. All the dirty secrets, the scandal of the century is revealed. And I will say this. The Donghua showing Daddy Jin's death was shocking and such a reveal, as was the reveal in the burial mounds in the Donghua of Yao's thing. It's expanded on so much more in this. It's given so much more depth, and it's interesting. And I honestly, I don't want to be spoiled, so don't spoil me, but I don't quite remember. I want to say it's WangXian that saved Sissy, and WangXian that sent Mingji. And we'll talk about that here in a second, but I'm not 100% sure. And WuXian's like having some doubts, so we're going to talk about that. But I felt a little old in this, I'm not going to lie, where they were saying that Daddy Jin was an old man, and this was 11 years ago, so he would have been in his 50s now, but they're like, oh, he was in his 30s or maybe 40s, but he was so old. I'm like, I'm in my early 30s, so I'm like, I felt a little old listening to this. I was like, But I want to say Daddy Jin's probably in his 40s at the time, because Yao would have been 15 or 16, so he at least had to be like in his 20s, right? The timeline adding up there. What does make sense, though, is that, because they said 12 to 13 years ago, that's when Yao found out that Chinsu was his sister, and he still went through with the marriage. And then a year later, that's when Daddy Jin died. So it makes sense, Yao's actions. It makes sense Yao and Yang's revenge makes so much more sense after you hear Mingji's story, because at first you're like, oh, well, Yao always wanted to suck up to his dad. And we saw in Villainous Friends, the idea got put out there of how they could kill Daddy Jin, like that was put out there for us. But Yao was like always chasing after Daddy Jin's approval. So it'd be easy to think, well, why would he try to kill him then? But then when you find out about Chinsu, that the woman that he loved, the only woman he's loved that loved him back unequivocally, that he was happy to get married to and have like a normal life, like Yao's one chance at normalcy, having a wife and living a normal life, Daddy Jin screwed that up too, because he realizes that Daddy Jin is the actual father of Chinsu. And he's like, well, damn it, I can't have any nice things. And so we'll talk about this. He still goes through with the marriage, and we'll talk about it. But it makes more sense now why Yao eventually, in the end, went along with Yang killing his father, because he's like, well, you screwed up everything, even down to me marrying someone that loved me. Now I know that we're siblings. Thanks. And so that spurs the whole, like, well, fine, if you like women so much and you like cheating on and having these affairs, have an affair in death. And he gets all these his favorite prostitutes from years back, and he gets them to basically, when Yang tells him to keep doing it even after he's dead, oh, woof. And then basically saying that he just had 12 to 13 rounds and then died, and then they still did stuff because there was 21 women there. Oh my God. And so, yeah. And then basically Sissy is the only one that wasn't killed and was locked up for 11 years. I wonder if the only reason they didn't kill her was because she was the first one to do anything. If she took the initiative and everyone else just followed suit. If maybe since she was the one that started the whole thing, if that's the reason they spared her. I don't want to be spoiled. The Donghua is kind of ambiguous about that part, so I want to see what comes out in the novel. But that part is interesting. And I'm sure it was WangXian that let her free. WangXian let her free because WangXian wanted this getting out into the public. He wanted the scandal to occur. And that kind of ties to Mingji sitting there, and then Bisao that Chirin recognizes. Bisao that Chirin recognizes being Chinsu's mother's maid, and talking about how and here's the crazy thing. Chinsu's mom found out about the affair, and I love how they describe it in the novel that Daddy Jin didn't remember the affair with her, but she remembered. Like, yeah. And that just shows how despicable Daddy Jin is. He had so many affairs that he just didn't even remember. He's like, who, what? I don't know which kids are mine and which aren't. Daddy Jin is the worst. And so I don't feel bad when he dies. I'm like, yep, you kind of had that coming. And I imagine that they said he was so sickly when he died. I'm imagining that Yang had something to do with that. Like maybe he gave him corpse poisoning or did some kind of poison to him to make him as sickly as he was. And the sad thing about it is that Madame Jin, she ends up dying. She ends up falling into disarray and depression and dying because she thought that her husband, Daddy Jin, was having affairs with these other women to cope and wasn't seeking her out instead. And so she lost everyone around her, her husband and her son, and she deteriorated and died, when the reality was that Daddy Jin actually was forced to have sex with all those women for once. It wasn't out of choice. And so in the craziest of ways, Yao and Yang not only killed Daddy Jin, but the actions surrounding that incident led to Madame Jin dying, which I'm sure Yao didn't lose any sleep over because Yao didn't like Madame Jin because she was cruel to him. So it all worked out, right? Mm-hmm. And then, yeah. So we come to find out that Chin Su's mom went to Yao after finding out that her daughter was set to marry him. And she tried to say, this is your sister, don't do this. And he did it anyway. She got the wedding invitation and fainted because she told him what this meant, and he did it anyway. And she said in the novel she didn't dare tell anybody because her husband was so loyal to Daddy Jin. It was just going to add insult to injury that like someone that was so loyal to the leader, the sect leader, someone that was so loyal that Daddy Jin ended up having an affair with his wife anyway, despite his comrade's loyalty. It's crazy, but Yao went through with it. Yao went through with it. And I think this was really contested when we watched the Donghua. It was a contested point because Yao's whole thing was, Yao's like, I had no choice. And I'm like, no, you had a choice. You could have backed down. You didn't have to tell Chin Su that you were siblings, but you could have ended the marriage and made up an excuse, right? But he doesn't do that. And you could argue he didn't tell Chin Su because he didn't want her to get made fun of, because they established that her mental state is really fragile to begin with and that she's a very fragile person from the start. They established that. And so you could argue that Yao didn't want to tell her because he knew she was just going to crumble knowing that knowledge. But he could have ended it's like he could have ended the marriage. He could have ended the engagement before it went any further. And he could have made up some excuse. And she probably would have hurt because of it. But she would have moved on. She could have moved on. But it's like, no, he goes through with it. He wanted the political position. And Daddy Jin didn't know that she was his biological daughter. So Yao's like, he wanted to use that marriage as a political gain. And he did love her, I'm sure. But it's like, he was so worried about her condition. It's like, it's still like you could have called it off, but you didn't. But you didn't. And then it all comes back to bite in the end. And then they say, like, not only did he marry her, but they had a son. And, yep. And then they start to question whether or not Yao actually killed him or not. And that's another point of contestment. I do think, though, having read the audio drama and having listened to the audio drama and read the novel, I do think Chin Su killed herself. I don't think Yao directly killed her. I think she did take her own life. Because WuXian makes the deduction that they're like, wow, if she has such a fragile state, and they say the line that things seem fair on the outside but foul on the inside. WuXian adds to that saying, people comment in joy masked in pity. I love that line. He's like, these gossipers, they're just like, oh, poor her. But they're taking such delight in talking behind her back and ridiculing her. He's like, no wonder she took her life. If she had a fragile state of emotions to begin with and a fragile mental state, and you add on this gossip and hearsay on top of it, of course she killed herself. It's like, it's so sad. But yeah. And then before she died, the woman, the Chin Su's mom told her everything, told Bichao everything. And so everybody's in a frenzy, like it's all going crazy. There's this frenzious mob that has taken place, of course. And WuXian, I love this part of the chapters because WuXian is noticing just how quickly things turn, like the gossip and the hearsay, like just how quickly the minds of the mob mentality forms and the minds of everyone change so quickly. He's like earlier they didn't want to forgive me at all and have me help, and then they come up to him and they're like, oh, we're gonna leave the tiger amulet to you. And WuXian's like, what? And they're like, oh, well, you're the best person suited for it. Let's go kill Yao, get that tiger amulet. And WuXian's like, y'all didn't want anything to do with me 5 seconds ago. And the whole thing about the mob going to go to Koi Tower and take down Yao, WuXian just noticing. And I like that WuXian's like, he chooses to stay out of the limelight. Like before, WuXian has learned from his past experiences, and WuXian makes note in the novel. He's like, before, I would have rushed in to be the hero leading the charge. And he's like, now I'm going to stay out of the limelight. This is not my battle anymore. I'm just going to stay out and be an observer in this situation. And so WuXian notes that the attack on Koi Tower, he's like, I wonder if this is exactly how the Burial Mound siege went. He says, I wonder if just like them talking for 5 minutes suddenly got this mob frenzied up, and then everyone decided to go attack and didn't think it through. Because he tries to rationalize in the moment with them. He's like, now wait a minute. He's like, Sissy being the only one left out of those 20 that lived and imprisoned and suddenly released, he's like, doesn't that sound suspicious? And he tries to ask the Bichao woman, he's like, why did you just now come to tell Chinsu about all this? Why did you wait until we were all gathered at the Fragrant Hall? Until I was there with Wanji? He's like, why did you wait until now if this was such an urgent business? If you've known for years since Madame Chen's death? And she doesn't answer the question. She skirts around it. And the people that are, the sect leaders are all like, oh, well, quit asking questions. And WuXian's like, then how are we going to find out the truth? And it was it's a big red herring because WangXian chimes in. He's like, I wonder who convinced her to do this. I wonder who that person that released Sissy could be. And everybody's like, never mind that. We've already made up our mind. We're going to form a mob. And WangXian's like, I guess we'll never know. When it's him. When I'm fully convinced that WangXian, realizing that WuXian's there at the Fragrant Hall, was like, now's the time to spring things into action. I'm going to go free Sissy. I'm going to go take care of this. You give the letter to Chinsu, and sets all this stuff in motion. And I like that WuXian, again, this ties back because if you don't know that WangXian is behind a lot of this, and he's a key player, it seems like WangXian asking, well, who could have done this, would be a sign that WangXian's not the one responsible, right? Because, why would the person responsible try to out themselves, right? But Sissy says she doesn't know who freed her, and Bichao seems like she doesn't know who ordered her around anyway, so WangXian's just trying to divert the attention off himself by trying to look innocent, right? Which is fascinating. And so in the midst of all of that, WuXian tries to say, like, hey, just because this person, it seems like they're doing good by getting this information out here in the public, that doesn't mean that they're just. That means that they have an ulterior motive and they have an agenda as well. And we can't quite trust them yet. And Wanji's like, no, there's still doubt in the air. So I like that WuXian's like, we're establishing that both Yao and WangXian, neither of them are totally justified in their actions. There's still some shadiness with both of them, which is great. It's fascinating. I love it. But yeah, it's putting WangXian and Yao on more equal footing, which is interesting. But then, yeah. And then on page 725, technically the audio drama ends. And we're going to pick it up next week and see if the audio drama includes the end of the chapter. But the end of chapter talks about WuXian starting to go around the city with Wanji and Cheng being left with the sect leaders going to Koi Tower. Oh my gosh. And then the keeping rabbits. The keeping rabbits was just all the rabbits coming up in Gusu and Jishin noticing and being like, oh, we'll just put those 2 pair of rabbits in there with them. And I love that Wanji back then is like, no, I'm going to keep my rabbits because they don't get along. The white rabbit that's supposed to represent Wanji pushes all the other rabbits away from the black rabbit, which is WuXian. And it just shows that Wanji wants to keep them all to himself. And it kind of ties back to how he was with Ning back when he gets drunk. And Wanji's like, I love WuXian so much and I want to protect him. And we just don't need to be next to anybody. And I think Wanji's changed a little bit since that extra. I think Wanji's opened up to other people being around WuXian, but he still is very, very protective of him, right? Oh God, these chapters were great. These were so good. And so yeah, they're planning on the attack of Koi Tower. WuXian is taking Wanji around town, like on a tour of Lotus Pier. Sizhui is out with Ning. Oh my gosh. And we're apparently having the golden core reveal next set of chapters. Okay. Sure. Next set of chapters are going to be chapters 86 through 90. It's going to be episode 10 of the audio drama. So I'm so excited. Oh, I'm so excited. But yeah, these set of chapters were really good. And I like that we're tying back to all the thematic elements about gossip, about morality, about these characters being right and wrong, about WuXian being like, y'all don't have to forgive me, but I'm here, so deal with it. Oh my gosh. And then we're slowly getting some more intimate moments with our WangXian boys. But yeah. So I hope y'all enjoyed this reaction and discussion. It was a little bit shorter than last week, but It was so good. I really enjoyed these chapters. So yeah, next week we'll do episode 10 of the audio drama and chapters 86 through 90. And there's two extras next week. Blind Date and Into the Dream Part 1. So we shall see, right? So in the meantime, I hope you all have a wonderful week. Please stay safe, take care, and yeah, I'll be back next week with the next part 27. We're getting close to the end. Part 27 of our discussion of the audio drama and novel and manhwa of WangXian. Bye.